Ever feel like something's missing? Like there's a whole other level of intimacy and pleasure just waiting to be unlocked.
It's a pretty common feeling, actually.
Right. And today we're going to delve into something that might just hold the key. A natural element with a bit of a reputation for really amping up desire and connection.
We're talking about Gorontula.
Gorontula.
You might also hear it called Snot Apple, or even African chewing gum. Kind of paints a picture, doesn't it?
It does. So where does this intriguing fruit come from?
It's native to West Africa, primarily Nigeria, specifically regions like the Gombe and Adamawa states.
Got it. Nigeria. Now, for our listeners out there, we're focusing on the buzz around Gorontula syrup and what it's said to do, particularly for women when it comes to libido and vaginal wetness. But, and this is interesting, it's also believed to benefit men, too.
Absolutely.
So to really get the full scoop, we've brought in a mix of sources, right?
Yeah.
We've got a YouTube video from Afro-Scientific Spirituality that dives into the traditional uses. We've also got an article from afromash.com, which breaks down the nutritional side and all the benefits people claim it has.
And to round things out and bring in that scientific lens, we're going to be looking at a video from Ask Dr. Malik. He really digs into the research and evidence around Gorontula.
Perfect. So let's start with how people have been using Gorontula traditionally. The Afro-Scientific Spirituality video and the Afromash article both point to a long history of use in Africa, especially when it comes to reproductive health.
Yeah, that's a major theme. And they both really play up its reputation as a powerful aphrodisiac, particularly for women.
Okay.
The Afro-Scientific Spirituality video is really upfront about it. Like, straight up says it's a traditional remedy for women dealing with vaginal dryness, even those going through or past menopause. And they don't shy away from the details, suggesting regular use can make things, well, very lubricated down there.
Very lubricated. I mean, that definitely grabs your attention. And how are people actually using it?
Oh, it's super simple. Just chewing the raw fruit, or you can soak it in hot water and then eat it.
Sounds pretty easy to incorporate.
Yeah, totally. And it's not just about dryness. They also claim Gorontula can seriously boost libido, like that overall sexual drive, as well as stamina for women. Supposedly leads to more desire and passion, too.
So it's not just the physical sensation, but like lighting that fire within.
Exactly.
Now, what about men? You mentioned earlier that these sources suggest benefits for them as well.
Right. So according to Afro-Scientific Spirituality, for men, Gorontula can also ramp up libido. They even say it can contribute to stronger erections and better sperm production.
So it's kind of like this dual action thing, helping out both sides of the equation.
That's what they're suggesting.
Now, I got to say, these sources list a ton of other potential health benefits, too. It's almost like Gorontula is this miracle fruit.
It does sound like a cure-all, doesn't it? They claim it can help with fertility, keeping blood pressure and blood sugar in check, easing digestion and constipation. Even stuff like relieving chest pain and helping with weight management.
Wow, that's quite a list.
It is. And it doesn't stop there. There's more.
There's more.
Yeah. The video also claims it can help with things like, what they call toilet infections or STDs, and even vaginal odor. The idea is that it makes things feel cleaner and fresher.
Okay.
And that's not all. They also claim it can help with things like menstrual cramps and other menstrual issues, even address premature ejaculation in men, and, get this, potentially even help with liver problems and protect against cancer.
Whoa, hold on. They're saying it has anti-cancer properties.
That's what they're saying, yep. And on top of all that, it's supposed to be a general body cleanser and potentially prevent blood clots and lower cholesterol.
I mean, that is a lot to take in.
It is. It really is. But the Afromash article adds another layer to all of this.
Okay, what's that?
They highlight Gorontula's natural sweetness and its sticky texture, and they really emphasize its traditional use in supporting both reproductive and digestive health specifically.
Right.
Plus, they point out its nutritional value, saying it's packed with vitamins like C and B complex vitamins, minerals like potassium, magnesium, and calcium, not to mention fiber and antioxidants.
So it does seem like there's a solid nutritional basis for some of these claims.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got a pretty good grasp of the traditional uses and the enthusiastic claims surrounding Gorontula. But now let's shift gears a bit and bring in that scientific perspective. What does Ask Dr. Malik have to say about all of this?
It's interesting. Dr. Malik starts by acknowledging that there's this widespread belief, particularly among women and, the people marketing Gorontula, that it can really enhance vaginal lubrication and those secretions, leading to that feeling of moistness and stickiness. Then he dives into what the scientific analysis actually reveals.
And what does the analysis show? Does it back up these claims? especially those related to sexual health.
So the lab work confirms that Gorontula is definitely very nutritious. Dr. Malik lists a whole bunch of vitamins, including A, B1, B2, C, and E, as well as lipids, a full range of amino acids, both essential and non-essential, and then there are the minerals and a whole bunch of different phytochemicals.
Okay, break it down for me. What are those exactly?
Phytochemicals, well, they're basically plant compounds known for their potential health benefits. Like some have antioxidant effects, others are anti-inflammatory. Dr. Malik's basically emphasizing just how many of these beneficial compounds are packed into Gorontula.
So, nutritionally speaking, it seems like there's a lot going on.
Yeah, for sure. And Dr. Malik suggests that this nutritional richness might be why it's been used to address so many health issues throughout history.
Well,
He's saying that this range of compounds could explain its use not just for, potentially boosting sexual health, but also for things like coughs, chest pain, respiratory issues, menstrual problems, and even liver problems. He also mentions some lab-backed benefits, meaning these effects have actually been observed in scientific studies.
like what?
Things like antimicrobial, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and pain-relieving effects. And potentially even benefits for blood sugar control and iron absorption.
So it sounds like science is confirming some of those general health benefits.
Yeah, exactly.
But what about the specific claims about sexual enhancement, especially for women? The increased libido and vaginal lubrication. What does the research say about that?
Here's the thing. Dr. Malik points out that the evidence for those specific benefits, especially for women, is largely anecdotal, meaning it's based on personal stories and word of mouth. There haven't been a lot of rigorous scientific studies specifically looking at those effects.
So while plenty of people say it works, the science hasn't quite caught up yet.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay. But Dr. Malik does connect those nutritional and biochemical properties to potential indirect improvements in sexual health, right?
Absolutely. He explains that a healthy libido is often linked to good overall health and a positive mood. And both of those can be positively impacted by Gorontula's nutritional value and its antioxidant properties.
All right, so feeling good overall can definitely make you more receptive to intimacy. Makes sense.
Exactly.
But what about that specific claim about increased vaginal lubrication, the one that gets so much attention?
Yes. That's the big one. Dr. Malik acknowledges those personal stories and, of course, the fact that the fruit itself is naturally sticky. But he points out that, as of now, scientists haven't found any specific chemicals or hormones in Gorontula that are known to directly stimulate the production of mucus and those secretions in the vagina.
So even though a lot of women say they experience it, we don't really know how it's happening.
Yeah, the exact mechanism is still a bit of a mystery.
Okay. But he does suggest that Gorontula's antimicrobial activity could be playing a role in improving vaginal health overall, right?
That's right. He suggests that by addressing underlying issues like bacterial vaginosis or yeast infections, which can cause dryness and discomfort, Gorontula might indirectly lead to a more comfortable and lubricated state.
Oh, I see. So it's kind of like tackling the root of the problem.
Exactly. And that could also explain the claims about reducing odor and creating that feeling of freshness.
That's a really interesting connection. What about the claims about menstrual problems? Those were mentioned in the traditional use, but not as directly tied to sexual health.
Yeah. Dr. Malik's take is that Gorontula's antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, and antioxidant properties could potentially provide some relief from certain menstrual issues, even if it's not directly messing with reproductive hormones.
So those properties might help manage some of the discomfort or irregularities that can come with menstruation.
Exactly.
So basically, the scientific perspective seems to be that Gorontula has a bunch of good stuff in it that can boost overall well-being. And some of those specific sexual health benefits that people report might be linked to these broader effects, even if we don't totally understand how it all works yet.
Yeah, that sums it up pretty well.
Now, the Ask Dr. Malik video also touched on the different ways people consume Gorontula. What were those again?
Oh, he mentioned the traditional ways of chewing the raw fruit or making it into a syrup. He also mentioned that some people grind it up and add it to food and drinks, or use it in soups and porridge.
And some people even use it for douching or steaming, right?
Yeah, he mentioned those methods, but he didn't talk about any scientific evidence to back those up specifically.
Interesting. Now, he also brought up a really important point, the placebo effect. Could that be playing a role in all the positive experiences people report?
It's definitely worth considering. Dr. Malik explained how our beliefs about a treatment can actually cause real, measurable changes in the body. So it's possible that people's strong belief in Garantula's power is contributing to those positive effects.
It's amazing how much our minds can influence our bodies.
It really is.
Okay, now safety is always a big concern when we talk about natural remedies. What did Dr. Malik have to say about potential side effects from using Gorontula?
He said that analyses have shown that the levels of different compounds in Garantula are generally within safe limits, like they're below what's considered toxic. But he still advises caution and says not to overdo it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And he recommends paying attention to your body and watching out for any negative reactions. Basically, he says to think of Garantula as a food, part of a healthy diet, rather than a drug or a direct treatment for a specific disease.
So common sense, basically.
Yeah, and as always, if you have any health conditions, talk to a healthcare professional first.
Absolutely. Solid advice. And just to confirm, Dr. Malik also said that men can potentially benefit from Gorontula too, right?
That's right. He suggests that the benefits aren't exclusive to women.
Okay, good to know. And it sounds like he really emphasizes the need for more research to fully understand Gorontula's effects, especially when it comes to sexual and reproductive health.
Definitely. He's calling for more in-depth scientific studies to really investigate these potential benefits in a rigorous way.
So let's bring it all together for our listeners. What have we learned today?
We've learned that Gorontula is a nutrient-rich fruit with a long history of traditional use, particularly in West Africa, and it's used for a whole range of health purposes.
And there are tons of anecdotal reports suggesting it can increase libido and enhance vaginal wetness, especially in women.
And while the scientific research backs up some of those general health benefits and suggests there could be indirect links to sexual well-being, the jury's still out on the exact mechanisms behind those specific effects on sexual function.
Yeah, even though a lot of people swear by it. It's fascinating how traditional knowledge, personal experience, and scientific inquiry all come together when we explore natural remedies like Gorontula.
It really is. It makes you think. When we encounter something with such a rich history and so many positive stories, alongside this emerging scientific understanding, what does it tell us about how we approach well-being, especially in such a personal area like intimacy and desire?
It's definitely a question worth pondering. Thanks for breaking it all down for us today.
My pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the conversation going.
Absolutely.
Until next time.